Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajdah channel. You're tuned in. I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, and we're going to wrap up our discussion today on the question, are you a predatory capitalist? This is not to cast judgment. It's not even to evaluate your ethics. It's just to raise our awareness and to get us thinking. So we'll be right back. Be a friend and tell a friend, and join us in a few minutes.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I have told you the first part of my life, I was a farmer in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Nobody there was looking at me flying and you thought that I would ever be a scientist teaching the world.
Yes, sir.
See, it is time that brings all that.
The Elijah Muhammad House presents Black Waltz in White, an electrifying and elegant movement introduced to the Nation of Islam in the 1930s by Master W. Fard Muhammad. Join us for the second event in our Arts, Culture, and Civilization series. Learn more about the level of culture and refinement taught and demonstrated by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We'll be there Thursday, June 26th at 6 p.m. in Elijah's Garden of Peace at 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. All ages are welcome to attend this special event of dance, education, in our sacred space. Visit ElijahMuhammadHouse.com to secure your seats. Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome. I thought I'd show a few more commercials to give y'all time to get here, get in the room, get it together. Let me say a few things about the commercials you just saw. Obviously, one is for the Elijah Muhammad House Museum. Our goal there with the museum is to show the massive impact that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is having on the world. A lot of people don't realize that. They bought into the PR campaign of his open enemy, which is our open enemy, who created this PR campaign in an attempt to sway your and my mindset and reduce the number of people that are resurrected. That's it, point blank. That's the idea of it. But we are in the resurrection business. We are in the business of turning our people away from the wicked ways of Satan. Okay, it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so we have seen here lately all of this predatory behavior that we as a people who haven't been right in a while, and we definitely have not been doing right by women, this predatory behavior that is being practiced in our community that, in my opinion, is leading to not only a sexual subculture that is ruining us as a people, okay, but also a culture of just being predators in general. As women, we want to be the bad girls. We want to prey on what somebody else got. We're only friends with people so that we can get stuff from them in some cases. Some of us are only friends with people so we can get information from them. We don't even like the people that we claim that they're friends. And if they stop giving us what they want from us, or if we stop giving them what they want from us, they won't even talk to us. That's true in a lot of our relationships. So we got some stuff we got to clean up in terms of our interpersonal relationships. And one of them is predators and predatory capitalism. All of this is behavior that we've learned and began to mimic from our open enemy. It was Tom Burrell who said at some point, the brainwashed become the brainwasher. Okay? And so it's Stockholm syndrome. You're victimized, then you start to victimize other people. They say hurt people. And then you're deciding, well, is the victim innocent even though they've been a victim? It's like in the Cassie Diddy trial, right? People are like, man, what he did to her was horrific. The grooming, the sex abuse, the predatory behavior. And then to please him, she began to practice those behaviors. We do the same thing with our abusers. So who's guilty and who's innocent? And where do you say the original predator or the predatory behavior originated? Does it originate with Diddy? Who taught it to him? Who did it to him? See, at some point, we become such monsters, especially in business, because we've learned that from watching other people. Somebody turned us out. And so we around here turning other people out. And so one of the goals of this predatory capitalism series, and I didn't even intend to say that this morning, but that just came out. Thank you, Allah. One of the goals of this predatory series is to get us off of that mark of Satan when it comes to practicing business, engaging in trade and commerce. You got spiritual people, and I've heard people in the nation say that this spiritual people in a nation where we're taught to do for self, who say, I hate business. I never want to be in business. Well, how are you going to do for self? You're going to wait for somebody to take care of you? That's against our instructions. So we have to begin to find other ways to do business, and we have to begin to eradicate the predator from our own minds. Because many of us who claim to be good people, claim to be spiritual people, claim to be lovers of God, claim to be lovers of the environment, we out here practicing predatory capitalism. Now, are we doing the outright egregious acts? In some cases, no. Some of us are. But a lot of us just don't understand that there are other ways out here to do business. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the assessment we went over yesterday. And I'm going to break down each question and talk about it. And I want you guys to put in the chat any questions that you may have. A lot of people don't like this subject. They feel offended. Some people look at it and go, no, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't know. Because if you have no other business model in your mind, and if you have not been taught by history what this behavior has done to us as a people, 9 times out of 10, you're practicing predatory capitalism. And if you're one of these people who say, well, I just don't want to be in business because I don't want to be a predator, then guess what? You're probably a predatory employee. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Sitting up on jobs, disengaged, not doing what you're supposed to do, stealing time, clocking in late, doing as little as possible, trying to get paid as much as possible. See, the predator and the predator's mindset has engulfed the earth. And so most of us out here, we think that in some shape, form, or fashion, either we got to be predators or that we're getting preyed upon. But there's other ways of doing things. Sunday is the beginning of my money psychology series. It's the money psychology bundle. Okay. And we're starting out tomorrow. We're going to work on eradicating poverty consciousness from our DNA. We're going to work on practicing thinking like a God. That's what the first mindset money psychology webinar is going to be about. Go use this QR code right here and go there and sign up. You can take all 4 courses for only $49. If you just want to take one, then it's $25. Then next week, we're going to be talking about credit and credit literacy. We're going to school you on all the ins and outs of credit. Okay? And then the following week is going to be financial literacy. And then the 4th week, we're going to wrap it up with another mindset conversation. So use the QR code right here. You don't want to miss this. I think this first one is critical. Eradicating poverty consciousness from our DNA. And I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to stick to these 2 free webinars that I've given you yesterday and today on predatory capitalism. I teach this. There are people who have paid me to teach this, and I'm giving you guys the Cliff Notes version. We're not going deep into it, but I want my platform to benefit from this because it's so important that we eradicate the predatory mind of Satan from our DNA, and we have to eradicate the predatory mind of Satan from our everyday practices. Some of us, even to try to be in a relationship, we act like predators. See, predators don't understand boundaries. Predators use a seduction tactic. There's usually love bombing or something like that, where they try to act like they're overly concerned, but they're freaking predators. And a lot of us are doing this in business. We talked on previous shows about how people love bomb you in business. People try to use you. We just always have to remember the distinguishment between being a good person and not going too far with that. Let me say it this way. In business, there's a lot of diplomacy. And a lot of times when you have a business relationship, you have to keep a certain diplomatic decorum about yourself. And when you're trying to keep that diplomatic decorum about yourself, always remember that that person is not your friend. They may very well be using you. So you trust people to the extent that you can, but you trust them till you can't. And let me tell you another thing. The propaganda that is used. I've been really telling people to go back and review that book that the minister told us to read years ago called By Way of Deception. Because the propaganda machine, the deception that is out here, that a lot of us practice on a day-to-day basis. Some of us see somebody with money or see somebody with something we want, and we say, oh yeah, I'm going to be friends with them. I'm going to get up on them. I'm going to get with them. You don't care about them. It's all about what can that person do for you. So I see our beautiful sun is coming up as we are talking. But anyway, so let's go over I could go on and deeper into that. We gave the definition yesterday of predatory capitalism. I'm going to read it here again today instead of putting it up on the screen. And I'm going to go through the questions, but I'm not going to put the slide up. Okay. Predatory capitalism is prioritizing short-term profits, often at the expense of ethical considerations, social welfare, and the environment. It involves businesses and individuals engaging in aggressive and manipulative tactics to gain market share and wealth, disregarding the long-term consequences of their actions. Okay. Now, again, the assessment, as I read yesterday, was designed to reflect behaviors and attitudes. It was not to evaluate your ethics, to judge you, or put you in any kind of uncomfortable situation. It simply was to make sure that we are aware of what we should be doing. I'm going to let us go to commercial, and I'm going to see if I can close this shade in front of me, because I don't know if you guys are having a problem seeing me, but I'm having a problem seeing you. So watch this commercial, and I'll be right back. All right, that's a little better, right? It's not as bad as it was. I love being in the sun, and this is a great place to sit, but probably not a great place to film. Give me a note in the text if it's bothering you, and then I'll move. But actually, I feel like right now we're okay. All right, so let's get into these questions. And the assessment title was, and we went over this yesterday, you can go back and review the show, Predatory Capitalism. Are you a predatory capitalist? Okay. And what I want to show you is up in this corporate speak. Thank you, Sister Betty. I want to show you up in this corporate speak how our behaviors, thank you, Brother Lamont, how our behaviors as individuals have evolved as victims, thank you, Dress Code, to the point where we are practicing the same thing that this satanic mind has introduced when they took away from us the science of business. Okay. I'm coming out with my next series because I'm working. I've been writing. And I got a lot of segments prepared for the book. I just don't feel like people are reading books anymore. And so I'm working to put a lot of this into these video series. And this is one of the chapters of the book. Obviously in the book, we go a lot deeper, but we'll make a decision. Anyway, first question. And these are true and false answers. I believe profit is more important than people. And then you had to answer true or false. And my guess is that most of us in the spiritual community answer false. All right. Now, a lot of us practice deceptive intelligence and we don't even know it when it comes to these business concepts. Okay. You may not consciously be saying that profit is more important than people. And you may not consciously be saying that profit is more important or that money and getting money is more important for yourself. But how many times have you compromised your belief system or yourself just to make money? How many times have you taken advantage of someone just to make money? So that's the interpersonal interpretation of that. Now, a lot of us say, well, that's why I don't do business. How many of us are predatory employees? How many of us are disengaged employees? How many are on our job just to get a paycheck and we really could care less and we ain't going over and above and beyond? We ain't doing no more or no less. See, when we engage in this behavior, it prevents us from practicing principles that align us with Almighty God, Allah. See, our goal is to separate from this open enemy. Anybody practicing this, our goal is to separate from them. But when we separate, that means don't bring your business practices. Don't bring all that old stuff over here in the new territory. So one of the things that I coach my clients on when we're putting together, we're doing stakeholder work on their business, and they're talking about the bottom line. I got to make this money. I got to price it. I say, okay, what else is important to your company? What's your platform? What's your mission statement? Do you have interpersonal principles that are important to you? And when you commit to those principles, that may mean you walk away from a job, some money, a project that maybe could have paid you more. That may mean that you don't participate in something that a friend or family member wants you to get into because you now have these principles and these morals that you are following. You have a mission. What is your mission for your life, for your business? Why do you go to work? Why do you take those contracts? Why are you doing what you're doing? So what other stakeholders are important to you? Is it the environment? Okay. Is it your investors? Is that all you care about? Is it your lender? Is that all you care about? And this is why this is hard. And I'm giving you the hardcore facts on this. Sometimes it's challenging because debt is likened unto slavery in the Holy Quran, because the debtor puts so many demands on you that you can have to spend so much time, okay, satisfying the requirements of the debt or just to pay the debt, that these other practices don't come into play. So this is why we have to be careful across the board in our businesses and in our lives when it comes to going into debt and working hard to get ourselves out of debt. Okay, sometimes we can't avoid it, but we have to work very hard to get ourselves up out of it, because it's horrible in that it can take you off of your square. Okay. Here's the other thing that's an interesting thing. Some of us are in fields of endeavors that have so many restrictions and so many requirements that we really can't help our people, or we can only help on a scale of 1 to 10. We can only help up to a 3 or 4. Those are other things to think about. So now you may say, okay, I might be restricted over here because of the rules, but then what else do I do to support? How else can I avoid being a complete predator? Because if you're locked into a system that was created by the satanic mind that is running this earth, that created these systems, then predatory behavior is something you can't avoid, even if you're a praying sister, a praying brother, and you're the nicest person in the world. So we have to understand that old business models no longer work, and we have to start supplementing until we can usher in our new behaviors. We have to ask Allah to give us new business models, new ways that we can give, new ways that we can help, so that we supplement the predatory system that we're locked into. All right. Next question said, if I can legally exploit ethics, if I can legally exploit a loophole, I will. Ethics are secondary. And you had to answer true or false to that. If I can legally exploit a loophole. Now, let's talk about that. Some people are just those kind of people. They just always trying to find a shortcut. They're trying to do something for nothing. There's always a loophole they're looking for. And that's fine. And you don't, and if you can find a legal loophole that doesn't compromise your principles, okay. But when that legal loophole is such a leap and a shortcut that you are now compromising people, places, things that you as a God should be responsible for upholding, now you gotta ask yourself a few more questions. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Like I said, old business models no longer work. Most people who make a lot of money in business are people who find a way to circumvent the system. This is what the system does to you. If you find a way to circumvent the satanic predatory system that legally, if you find a legal way to circumvent the satanic predatory system that's been set up to prey on people, prey on the poor. We see this a lot in healthcare, right? So you have a lot of subsurgical specialists who say, you know what, I'm going to cut out the middleman. I'm going to open up a surgery center. I'm going to open up a back pain and spine center. I'm going to open up a vascular center. I'm going to open up an orthopedic center, because I can't help that many people if I'm part of the system. So let me step outside of the system. Here's what they oftentimes will do. They will target you and try to find a way to hurt you. And if you are one of those people and you have a business that is set up to legally circumvent those loopholes, you better have somebody in your office that their job is to defend you 24/7. And when I was at the practicing medicine or in the medical field in Maryland, that was my job, is to find a way when they would attack us, I'm looking through the rules, looking through the laws, going, nope, nope, you can't do this. You can't tell us that. If you don't have that, they're gonna hurt you. I've sat down with departments of finance. I've sat down with antitrust organizations. The abuse from the predators is real. The key thing is we have to recognize it, and we got to make sure that we're not practicing it. Let me go to the next question. I'm not going to get to these because I'm talking too much. Number 3 was, I see employee wages as a cost to minimize, not an investment. True or false? People, invest in your employees. Pay your people. It's been many times and many years where I didn't take a paycheck because I wanted to make sure people who work for me got paid. There's been many times and many years where I said, you know what, I'm going to forego something that I wanted to do because I want to make sure people that work for me are paid. And I go even a step further because my goal, one of my stakeholder goals, is that anytime you come in contact with me, whether it's on this podcast, if you're my friend, if you volunteer around me, if you get around me, I want you to benefit. I want to be an asset. Even if it's nothing but just my smile, my presence, and my energy. I want you to learn. I want you to feel like I feel more empowered and I feel like a better person as a result of interacting with her. That is my goal. So I don't spew negativity at somebody. I don't try to dog people. I'm not competitive. I'm not hating on folks. You won't see me doing that. Now, there's a lion behind me. And if you need a little roar or you need me to bite you, I'll do that if you cutting up. But you won't see that from me. So one of the things that I try to do is, even if somebody volunteers, I try to put somebody in front of a check. I try to put somebody in front of an opportunity, in front of knowledge. I have been extremely blessed in my life. I've had access to so much data, so much information. While most of my friends were married and having children, I've been traveling around the world. While most of my friends was working a job and maybe sitting at a desk, no offense, I didn't have that luxury. That just wasn't the way my life was. You know, what was it Kevin Hart say? The way my bank account works is the way my life worked. It just wasn't like that. From Africa to Asia to parts of Europe to all over the United States, I've been moving around as a business person, learning, seeing. And so I have to get this knowledge out. I get downloads based upon all of the data that's inside of me. And I try to bring it here to the show. I try to bring it to people who work for me. I try to bring it to people who work with me. I try to bring it if you hire me as a coach, a consultant, if you go to my webinar like you're going to do on Sunday, whatever it is, if you're my friend, you come to me and say, hey, I got this business idea. I got this thing I'm working on. I'm going to be your problem solver. I'm going to be Olivia Pope. I'm going to help you. We're going to crisis manage. We're going to work on all of this stuff together. That's just who I am. But a lot of people are not like that, and they don't value their employees. They don't value, I extend that beyond employees, because I try to make sure that I value not only the people who directly with me, but the people who indirectly come in contact with me as well. So that's just one way that you can begin to, you don't got to be like me. I'm not trying to get you to be like me. I'm just I'm using my life as an example so that you can see how you can use your life as an example on how to eradicate this behavior that comes from the satanic mind that is a predator that is ruling this earth. This predatory behavior is commonplace, is so rampant in our community that most of us only know how to transact business with somebody in a predatory vibration. Most of us, that's the only way we know how to do stuff. Sandra D said, I watched it. It was a 10. What'd you watch, Sister Sandra? The next one said, I prefer monopolies. They're just good business, true or false. We define monopoly as a company or group having exclusive control over a commodity or service. You may think that don't apply to you, but it does, because a lot of us who are in business, in our field of endeavor, we want to be the only one there. We jealous and we hate on anybody else. If I say, oh, I'm a computer engineer, and I say, you know what, my cousin's a computer engineer, then all of a sudden we start hating on the other computer engineer. Even if we decide that we want to meet them and we want to connect, we're really only meeting them and connecting. Why? Because we want to see what they know that we don't know. But a lot of times we be hating. We want to be the only one. We want to be the only one that's doing something. And some of us are so jealous minded and so predatory, vibrating at such a predatory basis that if we meet somebody that's doing what we're doing, if they have more than us, we want to take from them. If they have less than us, we want to squash them like a roach. We got to eradicate this predatory stuff up out of us, because when we win over this satanic mind that is controlling the world, you're not going to be entered into the kingdom, if you will, if you come in as a predator. And if you see people with this predatory behavior, you can start with your own personal life. If you're in a situation and you see somebody preying on somebody, you see something, say something. Stop them. Stop them from preying on somebody, because you may not even like the person that they're preying on. See, that's the other thing, because what the predator does is they put out PR up front. That's why I tell us to go back and review that book, By Way of Deception, that the minister was so wise to give us to read years ago. They put PR out on people. So when they put the PR out on you, they fix your mind so that you feel like you don't have to be a righteous person when it comes to that person who they put the bad PR out on. So when they go to prey on them and they go to hurt them and they go to dog them, you ain't going to say nothing, because they've already murdered them in the public. They've already murdered them virtually. So when the real persecution happens, you won't say anything. Oh, Sister Sandra said my score surprised me. Yeah. You know why, Sister Sandra? Because it ain't nobody in this chat and nobody listening to this that can say, nope, I'm not a predatory capitalist. You can say, I'm not consciously a predator. But if this is the only way that we know how to transact, and we have not studied or been conscious of other business models, then 9 times out of 10, we're predators. And we might be baby predators, but we're predators. And we have to work on that. We may be righteous predators. We might be church-going predators. We might be mosque-going predators. We might be synagogue-going predators. We might be Buddhist predators. Then you might say, well, wait a minute. If you're a predator, you can't be a Christian. If you're a predator, you can't be a Muslim. If you're a predator, you can't be Jewish. If you're a predator, you can't be a Buddhist. So this is also part of our spiritual mission, to find other ways to enter into trade and commerce and introduce much needed goods and services into our community. That is what my platform is all about and what it's been about since 2005. That's how long I've been studying this. All right, let's go to the next question. Next one was, I would outsource to the cheapest labor markets no matter the working conditions, true or false? Most of us would say, no, I wouldn't do that. If, I would pay attention. Because a lot of us are ordering things wholesale in our business. We don't know where they come from. You mean to tell me that if you get ready, let's say you're selling, I talked about this yesterday, sterling silver jewelry. You mean to tell me that if you have one vendor, let's say down in Mexico, who's selling this to you for $20, but you find one in China or in Africa that tells you, oh, it's 25 cents and the shipping ain't but $1. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get the one from overseas in Africa. You're not paying attention to how many people died pulling these crystals out of the earth, mining this silver. See, this is how much deeper we got to start paying attention to things. How I work to eradicate this is that I don't follow my money after bad energy. So if I go somewhere and you don't respect me, you don't get my money. If I can help it. See, a lot of these companies practice these monopolies. It's like a utility company. You know, you can call ComEd and they can curse you out, but you still got to pay them. But if I can avoid it, if you disrespect me, not following that money. I don't even want to be in business with anybody with a horrible money psychology who is unethical. Why? Because I am working on being a Muslim and aligning myself with the teachings and with the mind of Master Fard Muhammad. Listen. I'm not gonna go. Let me keep going. I'm getting so much on this. Okay. Number 6 was unionizing employees is a threat to my bottom line. True or false? A lot of people don't like unions. They can be tough to work with, especially when you're working in venue spaces or in certain trades where the union is really heavy. They require you to pay certain union wages. I think what you have to think about is the people on the other side of that. And while it would be great for us to pay $2 an hour, there are people on the other side, because after they chop up that $2 an hour, that person on the other side might be getting 50 cents an hour. So all I'm asking is that we think through, something like that. There are some unions that are very egregious and that are predators as well. But again, none of this is black and white. It has to be carefully dissected. I keep going back to, and I hate to constantly bash Liberia, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire. Those were countries, for the most part, that were created for ex-enslaved people from America, in the case of Liberia, from Britain, in the case of Sierra Leone. You have a lot of people like that there, and the French in Cote d'Ivoire. But when we came back to those countries after having been kidnapped, the satanic mind was not eradicated from us. So you sent us as baby devils back into the country or over into those countries saying, okay, go there, here go your free territory. It's not going to work like that. See, we can't separate. We can't build a community. We can't say, okay, we're going to buy up this community and everybody from the church going to be in that community, or everybody from the mosque going to be in the community. This is going to be the beginning of our separate territory. We're going to all be close to each other. The predators can't come. You cannot unleash the predators in the separate territory. And if all of us are victim of the satanic mind, then we ain't ready for no separate territory. So to get ourselves ready, we gotta eradicate this predatory mindset that we are suffering from. You could say it's Stockholm syndrome. You could say hurt people hurt people. You could say the brainwashed have become the brainwashers. You can say that the victims are now victimizing themselves. Whatever you're saying, we got to clean up all of that. Okay. And that's what our self-improvement process is designed to do. So what I've done over the years is figured out how to take the self-improvement process, the study guides, the proper handling of people, and introduce them into my policies and procedures and my practices as a business person. Because that it hasn't been interpreted. So it's like I'm interpreting it into a new language, if you will. Okay. Next question was, if I can upsell a customer with something they don't need, I will. Most of us should have answered true to that, because a lot of times we do. Most of the stuff we sell, people don't need. The messenger told us to focus on the needs of the people. Okay. And when we money, food, clothing, shelter. Now it's data, technology. There's some other things that are the needs of the people. That should be our focus in business, focusing on the needs of the people, figuring out how our business can contribute to the quality of life of the people we serve. Okay. There should be some component of that to our business. All right. Number 8, I view environmental regulations as obstacles, not responsibilities. Got to pay attention to the earth. You can't be polluting and funking up the earth and expect the earth to continue to serve you. Okay. We got to work on that. Let me go back to that one about upselling customers. I'm very mindful. I don't have anything that I necessarily sell that's just a quote unquote luxury good, which is an interesting concept, because selling luxury goods has been an area in a lot of cases where we as a people have not really entered into. And part of that comes from the fact that a lot of us don't consider products and services that come from us, our people, Black people, as luxury. Interesting, right? It's usually European goods that maybe even in many cases it's things that they've taken from us, whether it's a design or whatever. I'm looking at, I have this computer bag here. It's something I picked up in Africa. It is really good quality. It's beautiful. It's leather on the inside. It's got a pocket, a zipper. It's got another pocket over here for your cell phone. I got this at a place called Nana Wax in Benin, Cotonou. And would anybody see this and consider this a luxury good? Probably not. But if it had LV on it or Gucci on it, or if it was, one of those other brands, you would say this was a luxury item. And instead of selling this for, I don't know, probably $50, you probably sell it for $2,000, because it comes from a culture that you and I deem, but look at the details on this. She's got her name imprinted on the little zipper. It's on the front here. It's thick. It's got cushion on it. The design is beautiful. I actually have a caftan like this one that I'm wearing. I have a caftan that matches this. So she sells these to match your outfit. And I thought this was so ingenious when I saw it. And I said, if this was introduced by a European, we would call it a luxury good. Here's part of how we can work on eradicating some of this predatory behavior. We have to stop thinking that everything that is not us is good. This is such a good product and it's such a great idea. And like I said, she has them in so many different fabrics, but I have a wrap and a caftan made out of this material. So I literally could step out today with my computer bag, which I could also use as a purse if I wanted to. Okay. I could step out with my computer bag, my caftan, and my wrap all matching. Think about that. But we don't think that it's luxury because it comes from us. These are things that we got to work on. It's our consciousness. It's our consciousness. Everything that looks European, everything that looks like anything other than us is luxury. That's a whole nother thing. Okay. Number 10, question number 10 was, we're not going to get through all of these, but I'm going to get through as much as I can. I celebrate when competitors fail, even if it means layoffs or community harm. True or false? We talked about that. A lot of people just celebrate when other people fail. We like to stomp on people when they're down. We love it when we learn something negative about somebody. We love it when we can take them down a notch. We love it when we can get up on people and get extra familiar. And now all of a sudden we can be like, oh, they ain't all that. They like us. We got to elevate the way we see things and the way we handle things. Okay. All right. Next question was, if my product breaks shortly after warranty, so what? True or false? A lot of us, we don't care if something breaks down. We don't care if we ain't going to return it. Most of us ain't trying to be Nordstrom or Amazon and just take stuff back, or Costco, who has a real smooth return policy. Some people take advantage. I see people who go buy bicycles for their children at the beginning of the summer, let the children ride the bikes all summer. When they get ready to go back to school, they return the bikes from Costco to Costco, get their money, and then use that money to go buy school clothes. Now, some of y'all would say, oh, really? You could do that? That's all that? That's predatory. See, when you living in lack, I think it's easier to think about being a predator, because you got to figure out how to get over. You got to figure out how to get up out of this. So this is why we need the money psychology workshop on Sunday, so that we can eradicate this lack and predatory behavior from our DNA. We get ready to shut that down on Sunday. We're going to start thinking like gods. And when you start practicing, it might get a little bit rough. Thank you, Sister Sandra. She said she said my oud oil is a luxury item. It actually is, because the oils that went into it were curated. There's no other blend like it. You may find something that smells similar, because ouds can smell similar. They're all from agarwood. And then the actual oud came from Turkey. So it is a unique product, and it's a luxury product. I'm an oud collector, and I have all kind of ouds from different perfume houses. And I'm going to tell you something. My oud is one of the best. And believe it or not, of all the different products that I sell and offer to help raise money for the house, that one is the number one seller, the oud oil. Who would have thunk it? Men and women. All right. Anyway, have a good return policy. Put good products and services out into the community. Don't put it out there if you're not going to make sure that it's right. Okay. If you sew, make sure your finishes, make sure you can finish good. Make sure the fabric is good. Don't go buy cheap fabric and then try to upsell it and charge people. Put people in quality. Think about that you're dressing and you're providing things for gods. See, that's why I call it the fragrance of the gods, because I'm selling it to you as gods. I'm not just trying to slam something together and put a bunch of alcohol and water in it and cheat and add some Crisco oil to it and sell it to you. That is true quality oil. And it's also, we also sage it. You know how they clean crystals before you should not be buying crystals from somebody who doesn't clean them before they sell them to you. And even when you get them, you should make sure that you clean them. We clean the energy from the oil even before it's bottled. The process is a very spiritual process. And then when I receive it, I do another prayer and another cleansing oil on it before it's even set out to sell or sent out to you. That's how serious it is. And some of y'all was like, no. Okay, whatever. You ain't got to, but you ain't part of the circle then. All right. Okay. Let's see what time we got. We got 5 minutes. Number 12, I lobby politicians to maintain advantages, even if it hurts the public. True or false? I think that's self-explanatory. Number 13 was, I believe in making money by any means necessary. A lot of us are willing to sell our soul and do any and everything. Okay. Dress code said, that's what I do. Quality is important to me in sewing and cooking for my customers. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. Some of us willing to sell our soul and do anything. We'll allow ourselves to be victimized. Again, I have to keep going back to this Diddy case. I'm looking at this poor girl in a situation, drugged out, willing to do anything because she wants to be a star. And when you get to the point where that want and that desire is bigger than your love for yourself, you end up addicted, you end up abused, you end up with somebody doing some of the most horrific things to you. And you can't even see it because you're so addicted to something that you've made your God besides Allah. This is polytheism on another level. And it's horrible, horrible. But we just keep repeating it. Somebody does it to somebody, and then the victim victimizes somebody, and then that victim victimizes somebody. We got to eradicate all of this stuff out, and we have to start with self. 2 more questions. Number 14, customer data is a resource to exploit, not protect. How many of you all are protecting your customer data? How many of you have folders and files sitting around your office that are unprotected, that other people have access to or could walk up and have access to? How many people are making sure that the data is protected? And I could go into a whole thing about that. But we're going to keep going here. Number 15, which is the last question. I do what I got to do in order to advance my business. You know, you can use deceptive intelligence and sell your soul to do it. Or you could say, no, what I mean by that is I'm working hard. I'm trying to deploy all the right principles. There's a whole number of things. But again, this is designed to raise your awareness. And let me go over the score. You had to give yourself 1 point for every true answer. If you missed this yesterday, you can go back over it. 0 to 3 points meant that you were a benevolent capitalist. 4 to 7 points meant you were a strategic capitalist. 8 to 11 points meant you were a cold-blooded capitalist. And 12 to 15 points mean that you are a true predatory capitalist. And like I stated, none of us can say that we don't practice predatory capitalism. Let me shout y'all out in the chat before we go. And while y'all are registering for Money Psychology, which starts on Sunday, we are going to start the process to begin thinking like gods. We are going to work on, Sunday is tomorrow, y'all, just in case some of y'all didn't know. It starts tomorrow, 7 p.m. Number 1, the first week, we're working on eradicating poverty consciousness and lack and subtraction from our DNA, from our epigenetics. We are passing down poverty consciousness, lack, subtraction, and want. This is what's got us stuck. This is why we can't make the money that we want to make, because this is in our vibrational crawl, and we got to get it up out of there. We got to reprogram ourselves, and that's what we're going to work on tomorrow night. All right. Use this QR code right here to register. You can get all 4 webinars for $49, or if you just want to do one, it's $25 each. Tomorrow, like I said, removing all this stuff, all this poverty consciousness from our DNA. The next week, we're going to do credit. The next week, we're talking about financial literacy. And then the next week, we're going to go back into our mindset to close it out. Okay. Yeah, chat. Brother Lamont, good morning. Walaikum salam, sir. Thank you. And thank you. Sister Sandra, thank you, sis. Good to see you here. Walaikum salam. I see my good sister Betty. I ain't seen you in a minute, sis. Happy Saturday. Sister Monica, hey there. Assalamu alaikum, sis. Great Saturday. You're right. Sister Alita, walaikum salam, sis. Good morning. Dress code said walaikum salam. Thank you for coming on, dress code. I see you all. Brother Ronald is also here. He said absolutely correct. Thank you. Thank you. I see y'all talking and giving each other the greetings. Brother Ian Muhammad, thank you, sir. He said, thank you for sharing. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for coming on the platform. Sister Betty says she's been making it happen. Dress code is Sister Mildred. Okay, Sister Mildred. Assalamu alaikum. All right, y'all. Thank you all for coming today. Sign up. We also have another event coming up at the Elijah Muhammad House Museum in our Arts, Culture, and Civilization series. It is Black Waltz in White. So if you want to attend the Waltz event, it's all over my social media pages. We just started promoting. It is June 26th, okay, at 6 p.m. in Elijah's Friendship Garden. All right, now, what else do I got to tell y'all? Sign up for that. We're also working on the Messenger's Residence, the series. That's going to be powerful. I think you guys are going to really, really love that. I'm going to figure out how we're going to launch it and put it out there. If we want to do some events at the house where you can actually just come and view it. We're going to work on that. We'll figure that out. But we're going to have some fun, inshallah, this summer. We got Black Chicago Eats coming up on the 18th. Sister Betty said I have to come to Chicago for a visit. Come on, sister. We love to welcome you to Chicago, especially in the summer. Okay. Wintertime, you're going to be on your own, but you could come on. We got a coat for you. Anyway, make sure you register. I'll see most of you all tomorrow night at 7 p.m. You will receive, once you register, you pay your $49 or your $25, whichever you choose. Pick your track. You just go out there and we're going to send you a link for how you can get on onto the webinar. The webinar is going to be private. You won't see each other. We won't have a chat because it's a lot of private concepts, conversations, things that we're going to be introducing to you that I want you to concentrate on for yourself. Okay. When we start talking about eradicating poverty consciousness and the subtraction mindset from our world, and let me add this, because there's a lot of us out here that think we doing the daggone thing. We got a lot of debt, we got houses, we got cars, we got clothes, we got all this stuff. That's also a sign or a form of poverty consciousness. We're going to talk about that. Okay. I understand that because I've been there. All right. But poverty consciousness is real. It's in our epigenetics. A lot of us are always trying to prove that we're better than the next person. We can't stand for somebody to think that we ain't got no money or, listen, I don't care what you think about me. You could say, oh, I think she broke. I think she ain't got no money. I don't really care because my money psychology don't work like that. You can say whatever you want to say. And you can make whatever judgment you want to make because my money psychology is not dependent upon what you say. I'm not making no moves just because I want to impress you. I'm making moves because they align with my interpersonal principles that are important to me. All right, family. Don't go anywhere. I want to show you all 2 quick commercials in case you missed them at the beginning. I see a lot of y'all on here. A lot of y'all are not in the chat and you joined late, and that's okay. I want you to go back and listen to yesterday's show, take the quiz, and then you'll understand some of the commentary that we followed up with today. And I will see you all, inshallah, tomorrow night. Money Psychology Webinar Part 1. All right. We're going to eradicate this poverty consciousness from our DNA. All right, we'll see you soon. Assalamu alaikum. And remember, it's not personal, it's vibrational. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. Love you. The Elijah Muhammad House presents Black Waltz in White, an electrifying and elegant movement introduced to the Nation of Islam in the 1930s by Master W. Fard Muhammad. Join us for the second event in our Arts, Culture, and Civilization series. Learn more about the level of culture and refinement taught and demonstrated by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We'll be there Thursday, June 26th at 6 p.m. in Elijah's Garden of Peace at 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. All ages are welcome to attend this special event of dance, education, in our sacred space. Visit ElijahMuhammadHouse.com to secure your seat.